Have you ever had to mask multiple objects? It can be tedious masking one shape at a time. However, I discovered TrackMat is a much superior method to mask multiple objects when creating this scene when placing the characters behind the railings or walls. Keep watching and I'll show you how. This is Randy with another Create Studio Pro tutorial. If you have watched my other tutorials, you will know that I am a big fan of masking.
You sure are. In fact, I refer to you as Zorro.
Zorro?
Yeah, you know, Zorro likes to mask also.
Okay, thanks for that interruption.
You're welcome.
One of the disadvantages of the traditional mask is that while you can mask with a shape, you cannot group your shapes and use the group as a mask. If I group all the blue shapes, I am no longer able to use the mask in the timeline. That is when I switch to TrackMat to perform mask operations. If you're unfamiliar with the TrackMat, check out the TrackMat Basics tutorial. There is a link to it in the description. Tip: before any masking, set the background and character actions. I chose this street background because it has a railing for the stoop, railing for the balcony, and windows on the second floor. Next, drag onto the canvas your characters and size, reposition, and give them the desired actions. On the stoop, I will add blue and change his action to happy, and add poking out his tongue, and then waving. At the balcony, I will add orange, change his action to happy, add poking out his tongue, and then waving. To make the poking out tongue action last longer, click and drag the in action marker to the right for both blue and orange. Next, add yellow, change the action to walking, and disable the starting and ending animation by clicking on the title of the track and disable one, then the other. And resize him according to the size of the window. Repeat the same operations for pink. The next step is to add a position animation to yellow and pink, but here is a tip. First, create a group containing yellow and pink. To stay organized, rename the track to yellow and pink. Now add the position animation to the group, and don't forget to change the easing to linear. Click on the first diamond. Hold down the Shift key and move yellow and pink right of the windows. The Shift key allows right and left movement without changing the position up or down. Click on the second diamond and drag it to the right. This allows the walking movement to be slower, which will look more natural. Again, hold the Shift key and now drag the characters to the left of the windows. Let's play that and see how it looks. Seems like they are still walking too fast, so I will drag the second diamond further to the right. Okay, now that we have the background and all the character actions, we need to put them behind the railing and walls. So let's create the multi-object mask. First step is to duplicate the image and move it to the top track. To help with the fine detailing of the rails, I will change the canvas zoom size. At the top, click on the magnifying glass icon and select 200%. The image on the canvas is now twice as large, so I will need to move it to see the railing. Click on the hand icon. Now you can click and drag the image to display the section you want. Once the stoop railing is visible, I will return to edit mode by clicking on the arrow icon. We can use the rounded rectangle shape to cover one of the rails. Since the canvas is 200%, the rectangle will go over the canvas edge, so we need to really shrink it down. Make sure the shape aligns with the right and left edges of the rail. In the Track Mat Basics tutorial, we learned that the color of our mask needs to be white, so change the color to white. To create the mask for the 3 other posts, we will duplicate the one we just made. Click the duplicate icon above the timeline and move the duplicate to cover the next post. Reposition the duplicate rail with your arrow keys on your keyboard or using your mouse. Repeat the operation for the next 2 posts. To finish the stoop railing, I could add another rounded rectangle shape, but instead, I will duplicate the last post and make it horizontal by giving it a 90-degree rotation. In the top right, click on Properties and change Rotation to 90. Move and resize the rectangle to cover the top rail. The next step is to group all the rectangle shapes together by selecting all the tracks. You may need to shrink the canvas by moving your mouse until you see this up and down arrow. Mouse click and drag. Select all the tracks. Right mouse click and select Group. To stay organized, I will rename this group to Stoop Railing. To see our mask in action, select the image and on the far right click on Track Mat. In the Track Mat panel, change None to Stoop Railing. See how blue appears behind the rails now? To move on to the balcony railing, I will first turn off Track Mat by changing the mask back to None. Click on the hand icon to move the canvas so the balcony railing is displayed. Then click the arrow to return to edit mode. Now, I could use a rounded rectangle for the post again, but since these are so skinny, I will use the pen tool instead. Click on the pen icon in the top left. Position your mouse above one of the rails and click. Move your mouse below the rail and click again. This draws a blue line on the canvas and adds a track in the timeline called Path. To exit the pen tool, click on the blue button on the far right. By default, the width of the pen line is 3 pixels, which is the right width in this case. And change the border color to white. Just like we did on the stoop, we will duplicate the path track for each rail. I will fast forward through this. When finished, select all the path tracks and group them. Once again, we will use the pen tool to mask the top bar. Click on Pen and then position your mouse on the left top of the bar. Move your mouse to the top right of the bar, click and drag your mouse so the Bezier handles are visible. Use these handles to shape the curve. You will need to double-click the first pinpoint to get the Bezier handles there as well. Keep adjusting Bezier curve until it matches the curve of the bar. It will take some patience to fit the curve perfectly, but that will ensure no gaps between the bar and the character when masking. When you are satisfied, exit the pen tool and increase the width to 10. Click the track on the timeline and use the arrow keys to lower the blue curve over the bar. Change the blue color to white. Group these 2 paths. Use the same process for the balcony platform. However, in this case, we need the mask to go down below the platform significantly, so choose a larger value for the border width. Use the arrow keys to line the top of the blue curve to the balcony platform. Change the blue color to white. Group these two paths with the vertical rails and the stoop railing. Rename the group to Railing. I want to see the entire image, so we'll click on the magnifying glass and click on Fit. Let's make the canvas bigger by click and drag the bottom edge down. OK, now select the image and select Track Mat. Then select Railing as the mask. The railing in front of blue and orange looks good, so let's work on making yellow and pink visible only when they pass a window. Add a rounded rectangle to the canvas. Resize the rectangle to fit inside one of the window frames. You may want to decrease the opacity to see how the shape fits. Increase the opacity back to 100% and change the color to white. Duplicate your window and reposition it to the next window frame. Repeat for the third window. Repeat for the last window. Group the four rectangles and rename the group Windows. In the case of yellow and pink, we only want to see them when they are walking by a window. So instead of applying the Windows mask to the background image, we want to apply Track Mat to the yellow and pink group. Highlight the yellow and pink group. As we learned in the Track Mat Basics tutorial, to Track Mat a group, you need to select properties to perform the Track Mat operation. Click on Track Mat and select Windows as the mask. Scrub the playhead through the timeline to make sure it looks good. There you go. That is how you can create very complex masks, grouping shapes together, and perform the mask using Track Mat.
Nice job, Zorro!
Hey everybody, have a good day and happy creating.